Good afternoon, everyone. Trio welcomes all the delegates joined us for the webinar. Now, before we kickstart this informative session, we have few announcements to make. Request all our delegates to kindly mute the audio and switch off the video. If you have any questions or queries, feel free to drop it in the chat box. Kindly do not unmute yourself or and ask questions. We are also sharing the link of Facebook and YouTube Live in case any of your fellow delegates and friends would like to connect with us. You can forward them the details. This is Dr. Hiral Jain Surana, co-founder of Trio Physiotherapy. Our today's webinar topic is flags, an important tool in physiotherapy screening. Our speaker for today's webinar is Dr. Parag Kulkarni. I would like to introduce our moderator for the webinar, Dr. Sanjay Parmar, Vice Principal Professor, SDM College of Physiotherapy. Also, would like to introduce our panelists for today and also co-founders of Trio Physiotherapy, Dr. Alisha Lodha and Dr. Suraj Shukla. Here is a brief introduction about Dr. Parag Kulkarni, speaker of our webinar. Dr. Parag Kulkarni has completed his undergrad from Vikas College of Physiotherapy, Mangalore, postgrad from Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, Karad, have done fellowship in orthopedic rehabilitation from Medversity Apollo Hospital, Hyderabad. He is a certified Mulligan practitioner, has 12 publications, total 10 years of teaching experience, presently working as associate professor at College of Physiotherapy, Vanless Hospital, Meerut. So I hand over to Dr. Parag Kulkarni. Kindly, all the participants, switch off your audio and video.
Thank you, Dr. Hiral. So we'll start with the flags, the systems in physiotherapy. Now, in today's webinar, we'll just take a look at what are the various types of flags or what are the flag systems used for. So what are the objectives of this webinar are, at the end of this webinar, I want each and everyone who's attending this webinar to know what is the importance of flags. They should have a knowledge to identify what are the various flags and apply them in their day-to-day clinical practice. So what are the flags? Flags are of two types basically. They're clinical and psychosocial flags. Now, clinical flags and psychosocial flags are very important aspects in the physiotherapy rehabilitation, are to be taken care of. If not, this will delay the patient's progress. So clinical flags are common to many areas of health. There are certain signs and symptoms that when observed in a patient's examination or history alerts us to the fact that something could be seriously wrong or something must be taken care of for the patient's rehabilitation. So clinical flags are commonly of following types: red, amber, and green flags. Okay, so these are like your traffic signals. Okay, in which traffic signal red indicates to stop, amber means you are about to move or you are in a state of stagnancy, and green means you can progress. So first, what are the red flags? So red flags are the warning signs, the indicators that there is something major problem. Fine. So red flags are those which are the indicator of possible serious pathologies such as inflammatory or neurological conditions, structural musculoskeletal damage or disorders, circulatory problems, suspected infections, tumors or systemic diseases. If suspected, this requires an urgent further investigation and often a surgical referral. So some of the common red flags what a physiotherapist can face during this clinical practice. The first is a recent or unhealed fracture. If a patient comes to you with a history of a fall or he had a fracture, kindly go and reveal his previous radiological investigation, because if the fracture is unhealed and the patient's pain and inflammation are still persisting, that means the fracture is not stable and it needs to be taken care of. Second, nocturnal pain which does not subside on postural changes. The best example is a PA shoulder. Patient having a PA shoulder, if you lie down on the affected side during the night, he might get a pain and he might get up in the night. But if the pain is because of some other systemic cause, okay, it will not at all be subsided if the patient changes the posture. Pain of unknown origin, worsening or increasing in the pain. You are treating a patient. First day the patient score on VAS was 5 on 10. The next day the patient comes with a score of 6 on 10. If this starts increasing, that means your treatment protocol is going wrong, or there is something other which is causing a problem. So you need to take care of that. And cancer, severe infections, osteoporosis. Again, osteoporosis is a very important part to be taken care of while treating the patient in the field of physiotherapy. because as we know in osteoporosis the bones are very weak, and if you apply an excessive pressure while treating the patient might lead to a damage. Or if you use any electrical modalities such as SWD, this might also cause an osteoporotic problem, further increasing the osteoporosis, and you should take care. Symptoms such as giddiness or fainting, excessive sweating, palpitation, sudden loss of weight, etc., are other common red flags which we can experience. Sudden loss of weight again is related to a systemic problem of your tuberculosis, due to which the patient will loss of weight. Hence, you need to take care of the patient as well as yourself by treating. So, if any red flags, what are we supposed to do? So if any red flags, first stop, review the patient, see what if the patient can be treated by you, or if the patient is indicated for physiotherapy. If not, refer the patient. There is no harm in referring the patient. There is no harm in telling that yes, I don't know about this case. It's better not to damage the patient or not to worsen the patient's condition than to refer the patient. If during the clinical part time, if you feel that the patient is showing some emergency signs, please seek an emergency help for the patient. Coming on to next, the amber flags. Now, what are the amber flags? Amber flags are nothing, but they say that whatever you are doing was right, but now the condition is stable and it is not progressing. Okay. So, what are amber flags? When recovery remains constant, no further improvement is seen, the condition is no worse, no better. Fine. So, what does it indicate? It indicates that progression of treatment, post progression, change of treatment plan, and reassessment. That means you need to progress the treatment, you need to increase the force, whatever you are applying, you need to change the treatment plan or reassess. Many times in our clinical practice, if you have treated fracture patients, this fracture patients, okay, but in the initial stage you can get a good range, but a stage comes when the range remains stagnant. You're not able to go in the further progression. Hence, in that time, you have to either change the treatment plan or you will have to progress the force. Progressing of the force, that means change your grade of treatment. For example, if you're applying a midline mobilization of grade 2 or grade 3, go for grade 4. Fine. If you are applying weights or if you are strengthening the patient, okay, if you are giving him certain amount of weight, you need to increase the weight. Clear? So the next part is your green flags. So what are these green flags? They indicate that a treatment plan is in the right direction, change or progress with current protocols as per the requirement. How to identify this? Patient shows recovery, signs and symptoms start subsiding, reduction in pain and improvement in activity level. So many times a patient in your clinical condition, as we have studied earlier, that the VAS score might increase. Now here the VAS score might decrease. That is, the patient gives a VAS score of 8 on 10, and now after 4 to 5 days of treatment, okay, the patient is saying the VAS score is 4 on 10. So that shows that it is a progression. Again, in the intensity, the patient might reduce, pain might reduce. Again, if you see the distance, for example, the patient having a radiating pain, radiating up to the knee, now the pain has been reduced up to the buttock. That shows a good sign. That is a progression. That is a good indication. That indicates that your treatment is in the right pattern. Now, in this case, you might require to progress or you may continue depending upon the patient's condition. The next part is your psychosocial flags. Now, what are these psychosocial flags? Psychosocial flags are very important in our physiotherapy treatment because they deal with the patient's psychological as well as environmental conditions. If the patient is not psychologically well, or his social environment is not helpful, or he is not well with that social environment, his progression or his rehabilitation might delay, and so the expected outcome is not to be seen. Hence, while treating a patient, we need to take care of both clinical as well as psychosocial flags. Now, let's see what are the psychosocial flags. So, psychosocial flags allow us to identify aspects of the person, the problem, and the social context, and how those factors affect the recovery and return to work process. Psychosocial flags enable us to work from a biopsychosocial model and give a framework for assessment and planning. So now let's see what is the biopsychosocial model. The biopsychosocial model helps us to understand a person's medical condition. It is not simply the biological factor to consider, but also the psychological and the social factor to be considered. So, bio means physiological pathology. Example: age, gender, genetics, physiological reaction, and tissue health. Okay. Psychological, it includes mental health, emotional health, belief and expectation what the patient is suffering. Social or sociological problems, it include the interpersonal relationship, the environment around the patient, the family, whether it is cooperative or not, whether the patient has his relative who are free with him or no. So that are all the matters which include the patient's mental health. This model is commonly used in chronic pain with the view that the pain is a psychosocial or psychophysiological behavior pattern that cannot be categorized into biological, psychological, or social factors alone. These flags are not a diagnosis or a symptom, but an indication that someone may not recover as expected and may need an additional support to return to. These flags are often referred to as an obstacles to recovery. Psychosocial factors determine outcomes such as activity level and participation and work, but appears to be less relevant to the reporting of the symptoms. Psychosocial flags have been subdivided over the years to reflect the different interactions that can affect the recovery. As a result, they are now referred to as yellow, blue, and black flags. So, what are the yellow flags? Yellow flags cover a feature of the person which affects how they manage the situation with regards to thoughts, feelings, and behavior. So, in yellow flags, a patient, we can see a further classification later. We have a table which will tell it about in detail. So, for now, just think that yellow flags are nothing but the patient's anxiety or his worry or his fear to work. Blue flags blue flags concern the workplace and the employee's perception of health and work. So the patient believes that work can cause further injury. People around are not at all helpful. So people who come under the category of blue flags are always they keep in the mind that the environmental people or the people working around them are not at all helpful, and they also think that if I'm going to work, I'm going to cause a further injury. So the physiotherapist's main role is to counsel the patient in the psychosocial flags. So black flags are the both about the context and environment in which that the person function, which include other people, system and policies. Black flags can block or limit the helpful activity of healthcare providers and workplace support. So in this case, the patient, what happens is the patient always start blaming other people. Okay, he thinks that his present condition is because of the people around him. For example, a patient is admitted in hospital, there is some problem in the insurance policy or some issue with the insurance policy, but he starts blaming that the insurance agent had made a problem, so I am suffering this problem. But there might be some technical or some other problem which the patient is not able to understand. Again, he's always blaming that I am not able to work because I don't have good healthcare provider. So these are the things which is going to limit his progress or going to limit his health. Orange flags. Orange flags are one of the most important flags in the psychosocial flags. They deal with the clinical depression or other personality disorders. Orange flags are commonly seen in females post-pregnancy. Many times it has been observed that after second week of the pregnancy, females usually suffer with this depression problem. Now, this depression is commonly seen in females because they think now their life has stopped. They'll not be able to compete with the world again, and they'll be stuck in one world or they'll be stuck in one side of the world. So that is a thing which brings about a clinical depression in the female. Okay, so it is very important to screen this female in the early stages and take care of the depression so that they can come out of it and continue their life living healthily. Screening for clinical depression is completed by performing the patient's health questionnaire, PHQ-2. This purpose of the PHQ-2 is not to diagnose depression, but rather screen for it in a first step approach. So now let us see about, or let us just take a brief review of what are the flags, their nature, and the examples. So first, the flag is orange. So nature of the flag is psychiatric symptom. So people coming under this flag show psychiatric symptoms such as clinical depression and personality disorders. Yellow flags, they show three types of nature: belief, appraisal, and judgment, emotional response, pain behavior, including pain and coping strategy. Now, belief, appraisal, and judgment. What is the example? Unhelpful belief about pain, indication of injury as uncontrollable or likely to worsen, expectation of poor treatment outcomes, delayed return to work. Emotional response, distress, not meeting the criteria for diagnosis of mental disorder. So worry, fear, and anxiety, as we have studied earlier. So people here are very much worried. They have a fear of again performing the work, or sometimes they may be more anxious, which can again lead to a problem. Pain behavior, avoidance of activities due to expectation of pain and possible re-injuries, over reliance on passive treatment. So people here, if the pain behavior, the patient here, okay, they are prone to avoid the activities to prevent pain. So they are very much self-secured. They don't want the pain to come, or they think that if I work, again going to injure myself. In blue flag, the perception about the relationship between the work and health, as you have studied earlier, the patient thinks that my surrounding environment is not helpful, or if I'm going to do the same job again, I'm going to injure myself. He doesn't know what mistake he had done in the while performing the job, which has led him to the injury. He just starts blaming the job. "Nee, if I do that job, I'm again going to get injured. Again, he also believes that the people around me, the supervisor, the workmates, are not at all supportive, due to which I may again lead to an injury, and so he starts avoiding that work. Now, black flags, system or contextual obstacles, conflict with the insurance staff over the injury claim. As we have studied, patients start blaming everyone. He says that the present condition is because of other people. So psychosocial flags assessment, how do we go about the assessing of the psychosocial flags? The literature recommends an early intervention and step approach to common health problems. It is believed that psychosocial factors start to become increasingly important between second and 6 weeks of the recovery. Okay, and assessment can begin during this period. So how do we assess? Now, assessment can be done on various aspects. First is the observational pattern. You observe the patient or the employee closely, how he behaves with the relatives, how he behaves with his workmates or his friends, how does he behave with you or some other people around him at home. Fine. Key questions, you can ask some key questions such as what do you think has caused the problem? So if you ask him that what do you think has caused the problem, patient might reply that my present condition is because of people around me. So he might come under the black flag. Okay. If the patient says no, my current problem is because of people working with me in my job, and I that job is very dangerous for me, that comes under blue flag. So you will have to classify it in this manner. How are you coping with things? Is it getting you down? What do you think you'll get back to work? So there are n number of questions which you can ask, and which you can so that you can come to know which type of flag or what is the psychological status of the patient right now. And so you need to take care of it in a very early stage so that it will help him to get better as early as possible. Screening questionnaires, you have got n number of screening questionnaires which are placed online or which are included in various books. Okay, so a number of screening questionnaires exist that can help to identify the flags in more detail. It should be remembered, however, that questionnaires are just one part of overall assessment process and should be used along the side of other methods. A visit to a workplace is another option. If you want the patient to be better, to try and visit the workplace of the patient, try to rule out the problems what the patient had faced, try to rule out the problem what people around him are going to face or are facing because of him. Okay, so if there are issues which can be sorted out, you can sort out, you can counsel them, and then you can make the patient to go at the workplace and help him better to be better. So these were some of the important flags in the clinical as well as psychosocial aspect. Above all, I need to tell you all that just take care of all these flags whenever you start assessing or managing your patient, and try to diagnose this flag as early as possible. It is not a thing that you start to and you get to know. When you practice more and more to rule out these flags only and only, then you are going to get them as early as possible, and this is going to definitely help you improve your patient's condition in the clinical aspect. Okay, so thank you all for attending the webinar. I hand over my voice to Dr. Hiran.
Thank you, Dr. Parag, for such an informative webinar. Now I would request Dr. Sanjay Parmar, our moderator for the webinar, to share his insights on this webinar topic.
Hi, that was a very nice discussion, and I think so far now we were knowing about only the red flag and the green flag or probably yellow, but it was a nice discussion where you brought out different types and how we should incorporate that into our clinical practice. Wonderful presentation. I am sure that all the participants would have been benefited with this and they will apply it into their practice. So thank you for your very good presentation.
Request Dr. Alisha to ask any questions from the Zoom chat box. Over to you, Dr. Alisha.
Thank you, Dr. Hiral. Dr. Parag, we have one question on the chat box regarding when these flags, what conditions are these flags to be considered? Is it specific to some condition or it's a general program?
No, it's a general term to consider this flag because different conditions may show you different flags. So it is not necessary that you will have all the flags in one condition. So depends or differs upon the condition, and it is also not necessary that every time you have a flag. But in clinical aspect, you will come across some of the clinical flags. It is not necessary that psychological flags will always be there, but many times in an old case injury, you might see the psychosocial flags.
Thank you so much, Dr. Parag. Dr. Suraj, are there any questions from your end?
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Parag, for the wonderful informative presentation. There's a question from one of our participants that how do we implement these flag systems when we are doing home visits? Like in home care, are we supposed to take the flags with us or keep in mind, or how do we implement this?
So what we do usually is we follow an assessment pro forma, right? Whenever you assess a patient, hello.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
okay.
yes.
So whenever you assess a patient, whether it be at a clinical or at a home visit,
yes.
Okay. So you need to. Okay. So whenever you are going for a home visit, try and carry an assessment pro forma and try and include some questions related to your flags. First day assessment, when you take, we get an idea what type of the problem the patient is facing. So depending on that, you can use some of the questionnaires. Okay, as I have told you that many questionnaires are available online. So depending on that, you will come to know which type of flag the patient might be suffering or the patient is showing that the flag symptoms. So you can use that thing, or you can make a general assessment pro forma which will include some questions, gives you idea of specific flag about the patient.
However, you are free to drop in your questions on the chat box or in the comment section of FB and YouTube link, or you can mail us on tryophysiotherapy@gmail.com. The details are put up on the chat box. We will also be answering all your questions. Kindly subscribe to our channel on YouTube and like the page of Tryophysiotherapy e-knowledge on Facebook. The link of both are shared on the chat box. Thank you, Dr. Parag Kulkarni, for being with us today and guiding all our physiotherapists. Also would like to thank Dr. Sanjay Parmar for your insights. Participants, kindly fill the feedback form in the chat box. Also, if there are any suggestions you're looking for specific topic, everything is welcome. I would also like to thank our technical support team, Mr. Krish Lodha. And lastly, I would like to thank all our delegates for attending the webinar. Thank you so much.
So thank you all for attending the webinar. I would like to thank Team Tryo, Dr. Healer, Dr. Alisha, and Dr. Suraj for giving me such an opportunity to speak in front of you. I would always like you all to remember that if we cannot do good to a patient, we should do no harm or no worse to the patient. So if a patient comes here, if you are not able to understand the condition, there is no shame or no harm in referring the patient to some other therapist or some other physician. So please always do good to a patient. Please do not harm to a patient. I also would like to thank Dr. Sanjay Parmar for being a moderator for this webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Dr. Alisha Lodha. You can share the further details.
So here you see is the schedule for June 2020. It's a free weekend webinar series organized by Tryo India. It's a national and international platform where physios come and have a discussion. These are the schedules for the same. The details for each of these schedule will be forwarded a week prior. If you require any information for the same, you can get in touch with us through our email ID, that is tryophysiotherapy@gmail.com. The upcoming webinar this Saturday, Sunday, that's on 6th of June and 7th of June. We have Dr. Neha Gaukar for 6th June 2020. Topic that she will be speaking on is therapeutic listening, quick shifts, and effective treatment tool for children with hyperactivity. Following which, on 7th June, we have another speaker, Dr. Satish Pimple, who will be giving us insights on why, where, and how we lack research publications. The details for the same will be forwarded. Thank you so much, participants, for being with us here. Thank you, Dr. Parag. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay.